Welcome to I Feel Fat Today. I'm your host, Kelly Taylor. Thank you. Here we are, another Friday. We're doing it. Thank you for joining me. As always, subscribe to our YouTube channel for full video episodes. Check that out. Subscribe on YouTube. Here's the thing. I don't believe in anything that I do, but I am pretty sure that this podcast is good because the people I have on it are interesting. We talk about interesting things. Maybe it's because I just find this interesting, but this is a good podcast, so you should listen to it. I've never been sure of anything that I've done, so there's that. Go to Apple Podcasts to rate and review. I would appreciate that. That helps get the podcast out there to more people. And then send us an email if you would like to give me some feedback or want some advice to ifeelfattoday@gmail.com. And follow the pod on social media at ifeelfattoday. And you can follow me as well on social media, just Instagram. That is the social media at hello, this is Kelly. Yeah, that's great. Thanks so much. Now that we're done with the housekeeping. Okay. What I have to talk to you about today is an article that came up on my phone last week. So I was super interested in talking about this because I often think about this movie and how much I enjoyed it as a kid. And obviously looking at it through a, updated lens. I mean to go back and watch it to feel like to discover if I feel the same way, if I find it just as funny. What I'm talking about is the movie Shallow Hal. Now, if you don't remember, Shallow Hal is a movie that came out in 2001. It featured Jack Black, who was a misogynistic guy who only saw women for their looks, didn't care about much else. And so the whole premise of the movie is that Shallow Hal gets hypnotized by one Tony Robbins into only seeing the personality and what's good about a person and not what they look like. So what I found on the internet last week was an article from BuzzFeed in which it detailed the actress that played the body double of Gwyneth Paltrow. And what her life was like after that movie came out. Now, I read through the BuzzFeed article, and I intended on reading that to everybody listening, but then quickly discovered that the BuzzFeed article is basically a synopsis of an interview that the actress who played the body double for Gwyneth Paltrow, she gave an interview to the Guardian. And initially I was going through it, picking out some certain parts just to read. But I feel like at this point it'll just be easier to go through the Guardian article rather than the BuzzFeed article. I'll link both in the show notes so you can check them both out. So let's get into it. At the time, 20-year-old Ivy Snitzer was a Los Angeles-based acting student with aspirations to become an actor or comedian. Mostly I wanted to be funny, she says. One day, a friend from her improv class called her up because he had heard about this thing. Without asking any questions, she drove with her friend to a room where casting directors, quote, took a bunch of pictures. A day later, Snitzer had a callback. She was invited to sit down with the film's director, the Farrelly Brothers, and, quote, just talk. They just wanted to know that I was somebody who was cool to work with, Snitzer says. Within the hour, she had gotten the job. She wasn't fazed by the premise of the movie, in which womanizer Hal is hypnotized so that he only sees inner beauty. The gag is that he falls in love with a woman who is overweight. It felt progressive to her at the time. At that point, if you saw someone obese in a movie, they were a villain, she says. Whereas Rosemary was cool, she was popular, and she had friends. Snitzer, who had lost a significant amount of weight, has zero negative memories of shooting the film. It was so exciting. It was just fun to be a part of a movie. There are so few people who actually get to do that, she says. The cast and crew treated me like I really mattered, like they couldn't make the movie without me. And Snitzer was made to feel, quote, really comfortable when her body was being filmed. Black, she says, was a delightful person, and Paltrow was really nice. It didn't cross her mind to be offended by the film's joke about her size because she made those kinds of jokes too. But she says, it didn't occur to me that the film would be seen by millions of people. When Shallow Hal was released in 2001, it was the worst part. It was like the worst parts about being fat were magnified, and no one was telling me I was funny. To promote the film, Snitzer got invited to give TV and magazine interviews, and although initially excited, she soon realized it also acted as an open invitation to strangers to approach her on the street. Many were angry that Snitzer had said, "It is not the worst thing in the world to be fat." Some claimed she was promoting obesity. One person found her address and sent her diet pills. There were love letters too. Someone mailed her a symphony that they had composed especially for her. So I guess back in 2001, 2002, getting mailed diet pills is like the equivalent of a friend suggesting you get on Ozempic. But yeah, I thought that initial part was interesting. How, you know, she did this movie. It was a comedy. She was into comedy herself. She thought it would be funny. She was excited to be playing this role. And while they were filming, you know, she's getting all these accolades and feeling like she's a part of something really cool. She's not thinking anything of the joke, you know, at hand. And then the movie coming out and it being like, and then being forced or faced, I should say, with the realization that, oh, this isn't all fun and games. Like, now I'm exposed and people can put their hate and vitriol on me. Okay, continuing on. I got really scared, she says. I was like, maybe I'm done with the concept of fame. Maybe I don't want to be an actor. Maybe I'll do something else. She moved back to New York to live with her parents, where she worked as a bartender, occasionally performing comedy, and was briefly a catering waiter. Casting directors kept offering her roles, but they were, quote, mean. I didn't want to play a woman who was so ugly and lonely that she molested young boys because that was the only way she could get affection. That's crazy. That I wonder if that movie exists. Is that a movie? Am I missing something? This, Snitzer says, was the antithesis of why she sought fame in the first place. I just want to make people laugh. I don't want to make people sad. The trouble is, as I discovered speaking to Snitzer, that the story of her post-Shallow Hal life is sad. Less than 2 years after Shallow Hal was released, she was, quote, technically starving to death. In 2006, she had gastric band surgery, which reduced the size of her stomach and restricted what she could eat. But shortly after the procedure, the band slipped, and I got a torsin, like dogs get and then die. So the band slipped. Maybe that's what I was talking about in the episode where I was talking about the bariatric cruise, and I was going over the different bariatric surgeries, talking about the band snapping. Maybe I meant slipping. The timing couldn't have been worse. Snitzer didn't have health insurance. She had to go get a temp job at an asset management firm in Beverly Hills because she had moved back to LA with her comedy writing partner. She also had to wait for her probation period to end before she was given health insurance, meaning she spent 3 months unable to consume anything thicker than water without throwing up. She lived off sports drinks and watered down nutritional shakes. So I guess because the band slipped, it was affecting the food that she was ingesting, causing her to throw up. She was very sick. But she had to wait 3 months for the health insurance to kick in. I was so thin you could see my teeth through my face and my skin was all gray, she said. And I was just so bitchy all the time. I kind of alienated a lot of my friends. My mother was also dying. It was bleak. Humans shouldn't have to experience how very bleak that particular time in my life was. She became so malnourished that doctors were unable to perform surgery to remove her band. First, they had to give her a peripherally inserted central catheter, a PICC line, to provide her with liquid nutrition. For 4 months, she had to hook herself up with an IV fluid bag every night after work in order to, as she puts it, not die. Due to further complications, doctors ultimately performed a gastric bypass operation to remove part of her stomach. To this day, she has to eat weird tiny portions and can't eat and drink at the same time. I asked Snitzer why she got the initial weight loss surgery. I don't know, she says, because I was supposed to. If you're fat, you're supposed to try to not be. She cites writer Roxane Gay's idea of a, quote, good fat person, someone who orders salads and never eats burgers in front of other people. Snitzer thought getting the surgery meant she would be good. Filming Shallow Hal was empowering for Snitzer because of what happened off screen, not on it. Out of all of the fat people in the world that they could have hired for the job, they hired me because of my personality, she says. Before, I had to fight really hard to be seen as a personality and not just my size. She also says that undergoing a weight loss procedure 15 months later wasn't connected. It was more of a coincidence. A doctor told her that she wouldn't live to see 40 without surgery, and she thought, fantastic, something that'll fix it. That's fine. Snitzer first noticed herself gaining weight at the age of 10. She describes herself as part of the ketchup as a vegetable generation, who was randomly the first very obese person in her family. She could brush it off when other kids were mean about her body, but hated when adults tried to offer well-intentioned advice. She counted calories as a teen, and dieting eventually transitioned into a disorder. Restricting started to feel good. I felt like I'd get some control over the situation that everyone was telling me to control. By the time she was filming Shallow Hal, she felt insecure, but also felt confident. I wasn't body positive because it didn't really exist in that way. I was kind of me positive because I was like, I'm funny, that's good enough. Still an attempt to be, quote, good, Snitzer ate healthily on set. During filming, a senior person in production hugged her and remarked that she was losing weight. Snitzer was happy. He wasn't. He reminded her, this entire movie is being based on you not losing weight. People think that when they when they remark on anybody's weight in a way that they're losing, that it's a good thing. You know, like telling somebody that they look great or that they look like they've lost weight is almost automatically considered to be like a high compliment. And I used to remark like, oh my God, I could kiss you. But when you say that, and now I don't really know how I feel about it, because if people don't remark on you losing weight, then you're like, great. People either think I'm bigger or I'm fat, or they're not noticing that I'm trying to lose weight. And if they do comment on it, then it's like, well, is that all people know me for is my weight? So I guess it's just a complicated thing. Okay, continuing on. When the filming ended, Snitzer was committed to the idea of being a, quote, good fatty. I hated my body the way I was supposed to, she said. I ate a lot of salads. I had disordered eating that I was very proud of. After surgery and before the gastric band slipped, she expedited her weight loss by exercising excessively, purging and restricting her calorie intake. It didn't occur to me that I was supposed to be ashamed of those behaviors. That's interesting because that is something that is talked about in my interview with my guest coming up, where we're doing bad behavior that we don't realize is bad. She says when she was overweight, people would avoid eye contact with her, but when she was at her sickest, so malnourished that she needed medical intervention to stay alive, everything was so different. People smiled at her, moved out of the way for her, and paid for her coffee. It was really nice to be treated well. She feels, quote, sad and scared that watching Shallow Hal may have made overweight young girls feel bad. But sometimes she receives complimentary Instagram messages from women saying that she was the first fat representation that they had ever seen on screen. After the gastric band slipped, the behavioral disorders calmed down somewhat. Because I couldn't consume anything, my mindset became more about how much I could manage to consume, not how little. She gained weight after her second surgery and resumed socializing with friends. 6 months later, she met her husband. The couple have a 13-year-old daughter who has never expressed a desire to watch Shallow Hal, and Snitzer says she's, quote, not going to run out and rewatch it. In fact, the only time she ever saw the film was when it premiered. She planned to sneak around the back, but the cast encouraged her to walk the red carpet, which again is extremely cool when you're a 20-year-old kid. She doesn't remember how it felt to watch the film. A few days after our initial call, I called Snitzer back because I'm struggling to get my head around the fact that the weight loss surgery came so soon after Shallow Hal premiered. I can't understand how the latter wasn't connected to the former. I know, Snitzer says. I'm sure it was. I'm sure I wanted to be small and not be seen. I'm sure that's there, but I don't remember consciously thinking about it. Today she regrets the surgery, doesn't worry too much about eating, and likes to think that she has found some stability in between the two extremes over her past. She has cheered the rise of body positivity movement and is inspired by her daughter's outspoken generation, but her story was never simple, and she says her relationship to her body changes every day. It was my personality, she adds. I've always been a personality in this body. Yeah, so that was that. I remember watching Shallow Hal and just laughing. I just remember thinking that it was a really funny movie. I mean, I was young. I was around 10 when it came out. 10, 11? Yeah, 10. So when I watched it, it was just like funny to see a fat person go off of a diving board. And I didn't have any feeling of like, I don't remember having a feeling of like, being happy that the fat girl was getting the guy or whatever. I don't know. I don't think I was conscious enough to have those emotions. I don't know. Maybe in somatic experiencing therapy, I'll find out that I had a lot of emotions about it. Oh, man. And that is our article for this week. I hope you enjoyed it. Now, getting into this week's guest. Wow. What a treat for you guys. The conversation took a few surprising turns. I wasn't expecting for us to, get into some of what we got into, the different topics that we covered. But this week's guest is a very good friend of mine, a very funny stand-up comedian, an extremely talented videographer and editor and sketch writer. And he was an exemplary guest. Please, everyone, stick around and check out my interview with Chris Metcalfe. I love New Jersey people, and you're a New Jersey person.
Same. Every time I find out someone's from New Jersey, I'm like, all right, hell yeah.
Yeah.
I get you a little bit more.
Kindred spirits, yeah. Absolutely.
Because even if someone from New Jersey isn't like you, on the surface, there is just like I don't want to say grit because it sounds corny, but there's just like a layer of like they know how to bullshit or like see through bullshit or can deal with bullshit.
Yeah.
On like a level that I think people from other states do not have.
Even like rich people from New Jersey leave and don't need don't need things to be fancy. Like I feel like I can have people here and they're not like judging in a weird way. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, because I think part of that is because everyone from Jersey's like on top of each other.
Yeah.
So like there's like I grew up in part of my time in Jersey in Bergen County. So there's like super rich parts of Bergen County and then there's super poor fucking trashy parts of Bergen County, and they're all mashed on top of each other. So it's like even the rich people are around the fucking skells.
You'll be like in a shitty town in Bergen County and like walk a block and all of a sudden you're in a nice part. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So where in Bergen County are you from?
I was in the rich part. I was in Franklin Lakes.
Oh, okay. Some Real Housewives of New Jersey shit.
My mom went to high school and dated one of the husbands.
Oh my God. I wish you knew who.
I'll text her in a little bit and ask her.
Yeah, but absolutely find out.
Not one of the I don't think it was like one of the ones that everyone talks about. She's like one of the B-level.
Right, one of the lesser known. Yeah. Wives don't last long on that show, so it could have been a human. It could have been a husband that's long gone.
Right.
Imagine it's like Joe Giudice. It's like someone that's like integral. That's so funny. Yeah, no, and I've unconsciously have had a lot of people from New Jersey on the show But I guess it's because I vibe with people from New Jersey.
Right.
I can't help it.
Right.
Ugh, I don't know. I hate to be like one of those cringy people that is just like obsessed with where they're from, but I love being from New Jersey.
I think it has, listen, of all the states that have a reputation,
Yeah.
there are states where I'm like, what fucking reputation do you have?
Right.
North and South Dakota, what, you're cold and barren? Like, there's so many states where it's
Yeah.
like, I feel like they don't have the same, like, I feel like everybody knows about New Jersey.
Yeah. And we also have the best depictions on television. You got Sopranos. You got Jersey Shore.
Mhm.
Real Housewives of New Jersey.
Garden State.
Garden State. As of
The softer side of New Jersey.
Yes. As of recently, the new documentary on HBO Max, Telemarketers.
Right.
Like
Bruce Springsteen,
Bruce
John Bon
yes.
Jovi. Like, it
Yeah,
just
yeah.
has, there's so many, we got hits.
we got a lot of talent comes out in New
A
Jersey.
lot of shit coming out of Jersey.
We got the Misfits. We got My Chemical Romance.
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean, come on. Newark, New Jersey, really just
Hell yeah.
crazy. Oh, man. Well, it's great having you on. How long have you been living in the city?
I think I've been around 10 years.
Wow, I'm coming up on 8.
Hell
Look
yeah.
at us.
Look at
us. How long have you been doing comedy?
Stand up for like 5-ish, and then but before that I drank the punch at UCB.
Oh, you were a UCB
Oh
person.
yeah, I did all the improv. I got advanced improv. I did all the sketch.
Nice.
I did the auditioning. Yeah.
Do you know like people that are out of the UCB? Because I feel like there are a lot of people that did UCB that went on to be like really popular, good stand-ups. Does anybody jump out?
I mean, there's people that I know, like, there's people that I think are really have become very successful. Like, one of my good friends, Dylan Stevenson. I mean, he was like a writer on. He ended up being a writer on the Wyatt's and Act show.
Wow,
and, like, all
okay.
this shit.
Yeah.
Obviously, now with the strike, everyone's like out of work or whatever. But,
Yeah.
But yeah, no. Yeah, nobody that you would know, but people that I had done improv with like a lot that have gone on to like have careers in like acting and writing and like shit like that.
I had been sitting on the desire to do comedy for like years before I did it. A solid 2 years for sure. And in that time and a little bit before, I would kind of just like, you know, metaphorically press my face against the window of UCB being like, one day I'll get it there. I'll get in there and do it. And then I just started doing stand up.
So before I did any like institutional comedy or stand up or anything, I went to school for like video production and like editing and shit. So I did like the LA thing.
Oh, okay.
I actually technically did one open mic when I was out there, but I was like wasted and my friend and I were broke and like we ended up like breaking the raise gate for the parking garage because we didn't have money for the fucking we were pretty wasted. It was bad. But anyway, like I wanted to do like direct and shoot comedy stuff.
Oh, okay.
But I was like, oh, who am I to perform or like get in front of the camera?
Mm-hmm.
And then whatever. Long story short, I end up moving back to New York and to the East Coast and go to New York. And I was like, all right. Oh, that's why, because we were broke and we would go to free UCB shows out in LA because we were like, we wanted to see comedy, but we were broke.
Yeah.
And it was like, before they were really big, it was like Nick Kroll, Jason Mantzoukas, Rob Hubel, Paul Scheer, like the goats.
The greats.
And like literally seeing them like every week. And I was like, I want to be that.
Yeah.
Like I want to do that. And when I moved to New York, I took a class and I was like, all right, let's go. I like just did all of it nonstop.
Nice. So you came to New York and just like started pursuing it.
Oh, I drank the punch like full hook, line, and sinker.
Nice.
Like, all of it.
Oh, that's so great. I'm so glad you came to New York and you didn't go like the Chicago route or something.
Yeah, well, you know what it was? You know what sent me back? Because I was living in LA and I had been getting all of these like shitty editing jobs where they were basically paying me like minimum wage.
Yeah, it's
like
like slave labor.
I transcribed like 50-something hours or more of raw footage for like the Rory Kennedy documentary.
Oh my
and
God,
shit.
yeah.
Like, but like these terrible jobs. And anyway, so I was like out of money and I was broke and I was like deciding like, should I move home?
Yeah.
Do I, ask my parents for money? Like, but I didn't want to do it. And I was on set for this thing that I wasn't getting paid for. And I was having a cigarette outside and the dude that was doing makeup he like saw that I was like being weird, and he was like, what's your problem? And I was like, I don't know, man. I was like, I think I got to move home. You know, it's like I can't afford to live out here. And he's like, well, where are you from? And I was like, I'm from Jersey, like New York, New Jersey area. And he was like, bitch, please. And I was like, what? And he was like, I'm from Minnesota. I do hair and makeup for like movies. I can't go back to Minnesota and do that. You can go back to New York and still do that. And I was like, fair point, gay makeup man.
Yeah,
like,
no,
okay.
that is a good point. Like, I definitely in my years in New York have had moments of being like, I don't like, am I gonna have to go back home? Like, I don't want to go back home. But then in hindsight, I'm like, okay, going back home would be 45 minutes from my current place.
Right,
like literally, it's like not that dramatic, but it like also, you know, I don't want to live anywhere but New York.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, yeah. Okay, cool. Let's get into it. So, this is one of the first guests that I'm having on that like hasn't like said, "Oh, I have experience with an eating disorder," unless you do and I don't know about it.
I had like a light one.
Oh, you did have a light one. Can I hear about it?
I mean, it would just be like when I was younger, like growing up, probably around like high school and like a little bit in college, there was like times where I would like. So, like, let me backtrack 1 second. Growing up, it was a point of pride to eat a shitload of food.
Right.
My dad's a big guy.
Yeah.
My mom was big, but, like, not as big as my dad.
Yeah.
And, like, you know, Italian, Jersey, he's from Hoboken. Like, it's just that whole, like, you know, oh, my God, look how much he can eat.
Yeah, what a
Keep
gavone.
eating. Yeah. And it was just like,
mange.
Eat. And, like, to me, when you ate, every meal was eat until you are like
dying,
like like
Clean
almost
your
have
plate.
like a stomach ache.
Yeah.
And a point of pride to like get seconds.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I just like I didn't know that was a bad thing at
that
the
you
time.
Were binging.
And whatever. I mean, this is years ago. So anyway, I don't know. I used to just always eat like that, and sometimes like. And then sometimes I would be growing up, like I was self-conscious about my body, so I would like go like purge, like I would like, make myself throw up sometimes.
You know what's so funny is that because that was like my first experience with bulimia, because that's exactly what it is. And I would think like, but I'm not bulimic, because it's like, yeah, I'm eating and yeah, I'm throwing it up after because I've like, you know, made myself so sick, but like, it's not the same thing.
Right.
Like, that's literally what it was.
Well, yeah, because everybody, I feel like with whether it's a mental disorder or a drug habit or anything, everybody always thinks about the extreme version of it, where it's like this skinny girl who's like hovered around a toilet all the time. But it's like, no, there's like mild versions of that.
Yeah,
like there are functional heroin users.
Yeah, did you ever watch the show Intervention on A&E?
Yeah.
So that's like where Intervention is very candid in drug use, alcoholism, eating disorders. And so I would see people on there being bulimic, and I'm like, well, I'm not spending $100 on groceries and then throwing it up all within a span of a few hours. And it's like, bitch, because you're 14 and you don't have the ability to do that. Believe me, if you had unlimited resources, that's probably what you would be doing. Yeah, you would
probably be doing that. Yeah.
So that's interesting. Okay, so was the vomiting aspect that came into play because you were thinking like, oh, I'm going to gain weight if I keep all this food in me?
Yeah, I think I hit like a point, like I said, I think it was probably like around puberty and like after that, where it was probably a combination of, there was times where I would just like eat, probably didn't even realize I was like emotionally eating or something like that, but absolutely. I would eat, and then, but I would be like, I want it, like, it would be like, I got a sub, like a pastrami sub, like, whatever, with, like, mustard and cheese and, like, all this shit. It was grilled onions, like, right? So good. And it was, like, I knew that I would feel, like, borderline sick if I ate both halves of it.
Yeah.
But it's like, I'm like, it's so fucking good. I'm going to eat the whole fucking thing.
Yeah.
But then I'm like, oh, I feel sick and I want to go out with my friends later.
Right.
So I would just, like, throw up, like, half of it.
Yeah. Just to be like... Just feel lighter. Just feel better.
Yeah, just to be like, now I can like go out and like do that. So yeah, I don't know. Or like, the other time I would do it too. I've actually never talked about this out loud, which is funny or not funny, but
exclusive.
Yeah, exclusive into my fucking dark past. I think there was times like when I got older and I was living away, like I would like curb. I would be healthier about like eating choices and shit, like mostly portions. But I do kind of remember a lot like when I would go home and be like eating with my family, like my natural instinct was to that thing about like just being like, manja, fucking eat. And then I'd be like, oh my God, I don't want this. And then I would like go like get some of it out of me.
Take care of business. You would take care of business. Absolutely. Okay, so I understand that in high school you ran cross country.
Oh, yeah.
Did you run in college?
No.
So I have the same experience. I was a cross-country track runner in high school.
Okay.
And when were you in high school again?
I always forget this. I think I graduated in 2005.
Oh,
I'm 36.
Oh, wow. I thought you were closer to my age. I'm 30. Okay. Doesn't matter. So I had the same experience. Runner in high school. Got to college, no more sports. Now it's straight up, time to party.
Right.
So, and I knew going into college, the whole freshman 15 thing, we all know that that's a thing. Was that something that you like were affected by with like the lack of, or were you doing the same amount of exercising just like on your own?
So, okay. So the thing that saved me all those years was I lifeguarded in the beach in New Jersey all summer.
Cool. What beach? LBI?
In Long Beach Island. Yeah. So like every year, like even for during the college, like, fall, winter, spring.
Yeah.
Around springtime, like I gotta get ready for the swim test.
Yeah. Oh, because it's the beach.
Right. Yeah, it's not at a pool.
Because I was a lifeguard, but it was at a pool.
Yeah.
So they didn't care.
Yeah, and like my patrol was like really busy.
Uh-huh.
But not that it mattered because you still had to pass the swim test.
Yeah.
And then every morning you work out.
Oh.
So like part of the job is like you get paid to like go for runs on the beach and go for a swim and paddleboard and like all this shit. And there'd be like lifeguard company. So that kind of like saved me.
Yeah.
A little bit. And then like in high school, I just always played a sport.
Yeah.
So it was like I never like worked. It wasn't until like after college that I was like, I'm gonna go to the gym on my own volition, like on my own.
Yeah.
It was just always like I was a part of some organized thing that forced me
to do it,
to be active.
Absolutely. Where'd you go to college?
Quinnipiac University.
Oh, wow. Yeah. I guess you wanted to get away from home for a little bit.
What, and go to a different version of home in Connecticut?
Yeah.
I felt like Quinnipiac, at least when I went there, just felt like a giant high school.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It was pretty like, I don't think it was like
13th grade.
Yeah, it wasn't as like, I don't know, I bring up Quinnipiac to some people now, and they're like, you went to Quinnipiac? I'm like,
is that like known for something?
I mean, the two things they're known for, I think, is like their political polls that they do all the time. They always get referenced for political polls, and I think their hockey team's pretty good right now.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I'm gonna full disclosure. When you said Quinnipiac, I thought that was like some upstate New York, like border Canada
like
thing,
outside of New Haven, Connecticut.
Oh, that's so funny. Wow, I know nothing about Connecticut, and I'd like to keep it that way.
There's nothing to know about Connecticut. It's so boring.
Traffic and construction.
Worst drivers.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so that's very interesting that you had that experience and you just sort of grew out of it.
Yeah, I think like I honestly like educated myself more about like health and like eating and like working out and like stuff like. It just was like, oh, you know what? Honestly, it was. So right after college, after I graduated college, like within that year, I moved to Australia for a year.
Oh, cool.
Just to go.
Yeah.
And I had like one friend out there, and just I don't know. I was like, I didn't want to study abroad. I just wanted to just go fuck around.
Yeah, you got to go full tilt.
Yes.
Always.
And going there because Australians don't eat like Americans do.
Too hot.
it's too hot, and just everybody's more health conscious there. And
oh my God, they're so gorgeous.
Yeah, everybody's super fucking
Oh,
hot.
I loved when I was in Australia.
Oh, you've been there?
Yes,
What
I went
part?
alone.
Hell yeah, me too. Yeah.
Well, I went alone, but it was for my boss's wedding. But the company was just myself and the boss, so I didn't know anybody when I got there. I went to the wedding was in Byron Bay, which is like an hour outside Brisbane. Then by myself, truly alone, I went to Melbourne and then Sydney for New Year's. It was amazing. It was amazing. I stayed in hostels. I'm still friendly with the people that I met on that trip.
Yeah.
So anyway, sorry. Go ahead. You were saying.
No, don't. But no. Listen. We're chit chatting it up, baby. Yeah, but I just living there gave me perspective on not only have I, but our entire country is like eating the wrong way. Yeah. Like when I went to the cereal aisle, because like I lived there for a year, so like the first time I'll never forget when I went to the cereal aisle and I was like, where's the Lucky Charms and the Captain Crunch and the Fruit Loops and the Count Chocula and like I was like all the cereal looks like it looks like gerbil food. Yeah. Because it was like healthy, real cereal. Yeah. And then the candy cereal that we normally eat was like in a tiny little section on the bottom corner
with like a government label on it being
be like this is terrible for you. Yeah. And then just like there's no buffets out there. Like you're not and so then just like being in that for a year and then just like after that like just learning more about like health and all this shit like I was like, oh my God, like I've been doing it wrong. Like before that trip I used to go to a China buffet off Long Beach Island on the mainland all the time. My friends and I used to lifeguard. We would go like once a month after we'd lifeguard. We would weigh ourselves before we'd go. Then we'd go, and I'm talking. We would go with guys that could like do push-ups like on a hand. Like these dudes, everybody's in great shape, but we would just go and gorge. Yeah. Gorge. And then weigh ourselves after to see who could put on the most weight.
Do you remember, like, what was the most amount of weight someone gained?
Oh, dude. This dude, Colin, put on, like, fucking, like, 6 pounds.
Just 6 pounds of crab legs.
Disgusting. It was disgusting. But, yeah.
That's such boyish behavior. Like, women would never.
Yeah, some of us would, like, just be like throwing up. Yeah. Because we would like get on a scale at this dude's place. Like he had like a outdoor kind of garage thing. So we would do it there.
That's
and then
so funny.
Sometimes people would like, we'd be in the car on the way back. And then people would do their weigh in. And then right after be like,
yeah. All right. Time to, That's crazy.
Yeah. But now I'm like, just the idea of a buffet at all. I'm like, bleh.
Yeah. No. Yeah. No. You know, I thought the buffet would go away after COVID, but cruises and buffets going strong.
The stock in cruises is apparently up right now, too.
Yeah. I've never been on a cruise, and I thought I never would. And then my little brother wanted to go on one. I never say never. Never say never. Truthfully, you really can't. Because now I'm going on one, which I don't know. I'm not, my hopes are not high. I just feel like it's going to be fun.
But you're also going on not a normal.
Yeah, it's like a comedy cruise. So that in and of itself, it's like, okay, well, I'll always be entertained. So it'll be fun, but we'll see. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, you won't be with like a bunch of blue hairs.
Yes, exactly.
You know, like.
Yeah. Do blue hair people even go on cruises? I mean, I would imagine no.
Oh, yeah, some of those like. I'm just being like old ladies.
Oh,
like old
people.
Old
ladies. Yeah.
Wait, what were you talking about?
I was thinking like liberal people.
Oh, like Gen Z, like little freaks. Yeah, I'm sure they probably do.
Yeah.
Some of them.
I mean, if mommy and daddy are going,
right?
Hell yeah.
If they're paying, I'll go.
Yeah, which is like how I am too. Oh, amazing. Okay. Yeah. So. So we kind of talked about this a little bit, but like you remember having an insecurity about weight, and that kind of is what led you to this like pseudo.
I think so. I think there was like something about like just my dad. Like my dad's weight has always been like a thing with me. Like I've made attempts in the past to be like, Dad, like you gotta like.
I've done that too.
My dad has like type 2 diabetes. Like I mean he's like. Getting close to 70 now. Yeah. Like he's older, so it's like there's only so much you could do.
Yeah. Is he still a big guy?
Not compared to what he used to be.
Yeah.
Like I gotta give it up to him. He's lost a lot of weight.
Yeah.
He looks so much better than he did like even 2 years ago. But I forget what we were just talking about.
You were saying that your dad's weight was always
so yeah, I just think like I had like a fear of like becoming him.
Yeah, totally.
But there was like a disconnect between growing up, like a disconnect between like diet and what that does to you, and like again, like just not like knowing.
Yeah. Also, food is your family's love language.
Oh, big time. Well, they said so. It's funny you say that. So like, there was a point in time. This was a long time ago, but my dad was big enough where they were considering giving him like a lap band or whatever,
bariatric surgery.
And they, you know how they like will do like a therapy session with you.
Yes.
They determined it would not be good.
Really?
For my dad to get the surgery because his relationship with food, he's not the I have this term, it's not a bit I've done on stage, but I've like written some stuff about it and thought about it. Like he's like rich guy fat.
Yeah.
He's not like poor guy fat.
Yeah, he's like Baroque era fat. Like
right.
where like
it's like royalty fat.
Mm-hmm.
So like he's like if you sat next to him on a plane, you wouldn't be pissed off.
Right.
Because he's not like spilling out. He's got like Italian.
He's not
my
the
dad
whale.
looks like Paul Sorvino.
Okay, yeah.
So
totally.
he's like that kind of like skinnier legs, skinny arms, but he's got like the Italian belly and the jowls kind of deal. So like, yeah, like and so like because like my dad is a corporate guy, works a lot on like C-level stuff, and like so he's out to dinners.
Yeah.
He's just sedentary. And likes good food. He also likes a good greasy burger, but he's not eating like when you see on my 400-pound life where he's like eating like, 10 people's worth of McDonald's.
He's not like trying to like fill the hole in his heart. Like he's like
right. He's just like I love all this food so much.
Yeah, he's not fighting demons. He's just enjoying himself.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Right. I mean, he is on a deep level like he is, and maybe some of it's masked with like the fact that it's bone marrow and foie gras instead of
yeah.
But he is like self-aware of it, like on a health sense, because you know how like this is the shit that's always like annoying. I find it's like there's like the health side. You're like, oh, you can like lose the weight and like do the health stuff, but then you could also choose to figure out why.
Yes.
You're doing it, and I don't know that he has figured out the why stuff.
Yeah,
he's just I know it's not good for me, so I'm gonna make changes.
Right. Which the irony in that is that if you're someone that's like him, that really finds joy in food and is surrounded by it socially, through work, whatever, not knowing the why makes the dieting horrendous.
Yeah.
Because it feels like hell to not be able to have something that you want really bad, and subconsciously you don't know why you want it, but you need it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And then you're right. It's kind of like being, what do they call it? Like when someone who's addicted to drugs or alcohol, it's like you're dry, not sober.
Yeah. You're a sober alcoholic.
Yeah. That's what it is.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Interesting.
It's like you're taking the actions, but you're not like, I guess, like doing the work to figure out why.
Yeah. And, it's interesting that you would say that about your dad, where he like went through the psych eval portion of the process of getting something like lap band, and them saying, you're not medically or not is not medically fit, but you're not.
It would be worse for you to get it.
Yeah. It would be hell.
Right.
And I haven't looked into it enough to say this, but I know people personally that have had a surgery like that, not lap band, but like one of those, and it really affected their mental health, not being able to, break bread, not being able to be involved in the social aspect of food. And it's interesting because I've had someone on recently, Chloe Fimiano, check out that episode, where she talked about her weight loss surgery. And I asked her, I'm like, did that part affect you? And she's like, I have a relationship with food where like, I like can't stand it almost. Like I'm annoyed by it. I have a weird relationship with it. So it's like, I don't find joy in going out and eating with my friends. And I'm like, you're the perfect person to have weight loss surgery, because it's like,
right.
you don't need that aspect. Like food doesn't have that. You don't have that relationship to it.
Right. That's how I feel about alcohol.
Yeah. Okay.
Like on a day-to-day, the idea of not drinking, I'm like, easy.
Yeah.
Going to do stand-up, not drinking, fine.
Yeah.
During the week, I got nothing to do. Like, I'm not the type of person to sit at home by myself and drink a cocktail.
Mm-hmm.
Not that I haven't.
Right.
But, like, I don't know. I'm Irish. I like drinking.
Yeah.
And I can, like, handle my booze. I bartended for a long time. But, like, the part, though, where I think about not being able to drink is, like, one of my favorite things to do, no surprise, is going out to eat with people. And I think we talked about it in the car ride on the show we did recently, where I was like, my favorite thing to do while drinking is sit with friends, round fucking table, talking shit, not shit talking
shit. Big difference.
But which can sometimes be shit talking, but it's talking shit and eating good food and like having, wine, a cocktail, whatever.
Yeah.
It's like all part of it. That is the part that I'm like, God damn it.
I think about that too. I think because sometimes I picture myself like, what would my life look like if I didn't drink anymore? And I would still have the same friends. I feel like, people say though, like when you stop drinking, there are friends that would fall off. But I know my people. Like I don't worry about that. But just what you've described of like, oh man, like last night, literally, I went to May and Laura's, friend of the pod. I just did their podcast, Risky Business. Check it out. And afterward, we sat around and we drank wine and watched music videos. And it was so fucking fun. And it's like, would I have had the same amount of fun if we weren't having wine? I don't know.
Right. Like, would you have had the patience to sit there and like watch?
Right. Would I have been annoyed by like people, by them talking over the Taylor Swift music video,
Right. My guess would be probably.
Probably, yeah, absolutely. Oh my God, absolutely. There have been times when like I don't feel like drinking, but like people are hanging out after a show and I got to get the fuck out of there because I'm like, yeah, you guys are annoying. I got to go. Not them. I'm saying like comics in general, people in general being like, oh man, it's kind of it's a very upsetting look in the mirror when like I'm sober at an event and someone has been drinking a little bit and they're talking to me and I'm like, fuck, it's looking in the mirror, man. That's me.
Oh,
that's me.
Yeah, when I bartended, this I don't know, maybe you'll find this interesting. So when I bartended, I used to a lot of bartenders do this. They'll take like their annual month off. Mm-hmm. Like every year, you take a month off of drinking just because you're drinking so much,
surrounded literally by alcohol.
It was insane, my tolerance back in the day. But anyway, like we would take the month off, and the first few days you're like, oh, this sucks, this is hard. But then by the end, the patience that you have for like regulars or keeping the place open a little late after hours is gone. You're like, you're like, yes, I will give you a free shot, but like I'm not gonna put up with your bullshit. Right. Here's your free shot. You tip me. Bye-bye.
Get out.
Yeah.
That's
like
so
I'm
funny.
not here to like listen to your bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh,
your
that's
patience
so
goes
funny.
way the fuck down.
Yeah. I had that recently when I went to, not that I was sober, but I over July 4th weekend, I was at Johnny Mac's in Asbury. And I promise you, in my early 20s, I could not go into that bar I don't think I left on my own free will leaving Johnny Mac's in my early 20s once. Like I literally always was told by security to like get out. It wasn't ever dramatic. They would just be like, honey, you gotta go.
Yeah, you're done.
And I'm the kind of person where it's like, I'm so afraid of getting in trouble that I'm just like, okay. I don't fight
I'm not gonna fight with you about it.
I'm not gonna fight. So this past year, I go down to, me and 3 friends were at Johnny Mac's and no pregame. We just went and we're like, okay, we'll get a drink here. And I'm looking around and I'm like, oh my God, like I'm seeing security just like randomly pick people out that are like kind of just stumbling a little bit too much. And it was, again, a mirror. I was seeing my younger self.
Yeah, you're like, oh, that's how they would
like,
get me.
That's what I did. That's why.
That's how they got me.
Yeah, so it's very funny, funny, like looking at things through a sober lens.
Yeah, but do you do that does happen to me, but I also, there's this other part of me too. A lot of times where I'm like, even if I'm sober and I see like people being wasted, I'm like, oh, I'm not even that bad when I'm drunk.
Oh, you're it's like the sober form of body checking somebody.
Yeah.
It's like looking at someone and being like, well, I'm not that fat.
Yeah. Yeah, at least I don't look like that fucking guy.
Yeah.
I know, that's so true. I've been getting back into it, but I like went through a phase where I was like reading a lot of like Tim Ferriss and like those kind of like like I don't know. They have other words for self-help now because people hate the term self-help, but that's basically what the fuck they are.
Yeah.
It's like self-help without like a plan.
Right.
It's like you take the information and science-based and like Huberman and all those fucking people. But one, whatever. So like I always, some of this shit like sticks with you, and I remember one thing that stuck with me was like sometimes it's better to change your perspective of like if you have like goals or things you want to do. It's like they say like pick the person that's best in the field that you want to like achieve in. It's like if it's basketball, pick Michael Jordan,
right?
Or in our case, comedy, it's like pick Chappelle or whoever yours is, right?
Right.
But sometimes like that could be like daunting because you're like, I'm never gonna be that. They're like, instead, pick the person who's the worst in your field, but has a career doing it.
Yeah.
And be like, I can be at least as good as that piece of shit.
Wow, I love that.
Yeah.
That is something that is worth holding on to.
Right? Like, if that asshole can do it, I could definitely do it, and I could definitely do it at least a little bit better than them.
I have to say, thank God for those assholes because it reminds me of like, or it's just like a good reminder of like, there is something for everybody out there. That's what I tell myself because I'm always like, there's so many goddamn comedians in this town, in this country. Like, there's so many comics, and I'm like, there's something for everybody. Like there are billions of people in this world, literal billions.
Yep.
Like, you're gonna find a select group of people. It doesn't have to be massive, but it can be enough to survive in this town, and they're gonna like you. So shout out to them.
Yeah,
that's so funny.
I feel like when I listen to podcasts and comics are having these types of conversations that we're having now, the thing I'm always wishing is like name names.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Oh yeah,
say a name.
When the mic goes off, when the mics go off.
Yeah, we're gonna let it rip.
Yeah, we'll discuss the first people that popped into your mind. That's amazing. Okay. Did you see your mom dieting a lot when you were growing up?
Oh yeah, my mom was like, I don't remember if she did Jenny Craig. She might have. My mom's a big Weight Watchers.
Hell yeah.
But like she'd been doing it since like back in the day, so she's been through all the in and out.
Oh, that's what
in and out of Weight Watchers, like she is with church. You hear that,
yeah.
Carol? She'll be so
about,
upset if she heard me say
that. Talking about sober alcoholics, like people go in and out of Weight Watchers the way they go in and out of AA.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, 100%. But I guess that's similar to just like dieting.
Yeah.
Right. Like my dad went. So my dad lives in London full time. My parents are still together, but it's just like whatever. He. End of retirement, they're like, if you move to London, we'll pay you more and get you out of here faster type of deal.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
The only reason I felt the need to explain that is I say it, and people were like, "Are your parents divorced, or is it like something wrong?" But there's not. But anyway, when he's there by himself, like he loses, like he's been like he lays off the bread, is like not drinking all the time, like doing this shit. But then when he was just back for like a month, he was letting it fucking rip, like letting it rip. But then I was with him when he was like packing up to leave, to go back to London, and he was like, "Yeah, I gotta go back to the diet now."
Oh,
but I think it's like that. I feel like it's like that for a lot of people.
Yeah,
like going back to like in and out of Weight Watchers, where you're just like. You go on that vacation.
Go on a party.
Yeah. And then you're like, come back, and you're like, what's the rush?
Yeah, absolutely. Also, just in general, we were talking about like food in Australia. I am like very much of the belief that American food is just killing us. And like the you could have the same meal here in New York that you would have in London or England, whatever, any other country, and it is going to have a different effect on your body, I think.
Oh, 100. Well, that's like all those stories you hear about people that are gluten intolerant or have
absolutely
whatever, and then they go to Italy, and they are like, "I'll just try a little," and they're like, "I'm not getting hives," and then by the end of the week, they're like eating pasta.
Yeah, absolutely. It's crazy and whatever. I mean, I'll never leave, so I can't talk shit about it. But it is nice knowing that, like, you could go to a different country to be healthier.
Yeah. Well, that's like a crazy. That's like really the double down or the I don't know the layer cake of the American like food thing is like you can get we have more options than we need.
Absolutely.
As just like a human, like we don't need this many options.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that like every time I go to a new city, you know, because of comedy, we go to a lot of gas stations and 7-Elevens.
Yeah.
I always go to check to see what local new flavored Dorito that they have.
Yeah.
It's like something I do everywhere I go.
So exciting.
Yeah, because like I got like a buddy, he doesn't do comedy, but like he's obsessed with Doritos. He's from Jersey. Like we just got this Dorito thing going on.
It's the best.
And like
I love that.
But it's like just the fact that I'm doing that, it's like that shouldn't be an option.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh,
it's like
yeah.
too much. So there's that problem where it's just like there's more crappy food available than there is like healthy food available. Layer one. Layer two, then you're like, okay, I'm going to go for the healthy food, which is not as available, but it's like loaded with pesticides and hormones and like all these other wild things. And then the third layer is like, if you want to go full tilt health, you have to go so out of your way.
Yeah. Yeah.
And spend that even more money.
Yeah.
To go full tilt healthy.
Yeah, it's like it's like classist to be healthy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It
It's
is
crazy. There's a Whole Foods really close to my apartment, and I just for years avoided it because I'm like, oh, Whole Foods, that's expensive. I'm not going to go in there. And then finally I went in there and I was like, okay, not everything is expensive. Like, have I just been fed this lie that eating healthy is like elitist, you know?
Yeah, I do think people like,
but some of it is really expensive.
Some of it is. It like depends on what you're eating, I guess. Or
Yeah.
I've the real shop freaks I know, like my roommate Bo Ballou is kind of like this. Like he's like, oh, I get all my I don't know exactly what it is, but he's like, I get all my my meats and my grains from Trader Joe's, but I get all my vegetables from Whole Foods for a combination of price and quality like reasons.
That's so much work.
I know, fuck that shit.
I have Instacart.
Yeah. Oh man, I gotta get that.
It's a lifesaver. I can't have a clean house, a full comedy schedule, and eat healthy. Those three things can't exist at the same time because I'm a human being and I just can't do it. So Instacart has really helped with the eating healthy aspect because it's like now like in the middle of my work day when like I get the ADD thought to buy groceries, I just go on my phone quickly, put the order in, and I go back to work and all of a sudden groceries are here a few hours later.
Right.
So that's that convenience, yes, but just like generally making my life better, absolutely. This podcast is not sponsored by Instacart. But let me know if you sign up for it.
To be.
Yeah, let me know if you sign up for it because I will send that to them and be like, I can get you customers. Amazing. Okay, so this is random and out of nowhere, but what is the ugliest you've ever felt? Just not feeling good about yourself. You feel like a fat bastard. You're just like, I'm gross.
So I'll give you the mic. I'll give you the micro time I feel the grossest is after I eat barbecue or Italian food.
Oh, I mean, very heavy
food.
stuff.
I can never like if I'm dating someone and they're like, you know, when you date someone, you're like, ooh, we're gonna have like sexy night tonight.
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
I'm like, we are eating sushi.
Yeah.
Like,
can we do this before?
Yeah, like I am not there. There are foods I will not eat.
Yeah, absolutely.
If I know that there's
If
a
you're gonna
certain
be,
activity.
Yeah, if you're gonna be
happening
naked later.
afterward.
Yeah, absolutely.
So like in a micro moment, like that's when I feel like the ugliest. I'd say on a macro, just like in life, I would say probably when I was going through puberty and like now.
Really? You feel ugliest now?
I don't wake up every day being like
I'm an ugly bitch.
I'm ugly, but like I don't like I've gone so off the rails with like not like eating right.
Really?
And like not working out, and I've gotten in such like a bad like routine of stuff that it's like I dug myself into such a hole for me, like for my own whatever, that like I am like struggling to get out of it.
How do you think you got there?
Something happened to me, like my light has been dimmed ever since COVID.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting way to put that.
I feel like before COVID, I used to wake up, even on days where there was like shit that I didn't want to do, I would wake up and be like, let's get this fucking day, baby. But now I wake up and I'm like, fuck.
So it's like after COVID, it's like you dropped a mirror and you put the pieces back, but it's still shattered.
If you want to put it poetically like that, for sure.
I wonder why.
Yeah, I don't know.
Did you know anyone that died during it?
No, I think some of it was like wrapped up in like what I thought my identity was. I don't know, like this is such a white guy fucking thing to say, but like not being able to do stand up, like I was like, well then what the fuck is what am I?
Right.
Which sounds so gay, but like, but like I don't know, it's just it like forced me to be like, oh well then like what am I or who am I? And
interesting.
Like, I don't even know that I necessarily figured that out,
right?
Because I would talk to friends about it and be like, if someone asked you that, what would you say? They'd be like, well, I'm a good brother, or I'm a son, I'm a this, I'm a that. I'm like, there's no way it's that easy.
Yeah, no, I don't know who I am either.
Yeah.
I don't know who I am. I'm trying to figure it out. And maybe that's who I am. Someone that's trying to figure out who they are.
Probably, yeah.
Know?
I mean, because I don't know. And maybe it's too esoteric of an answer or of a question to answer or whatever. Like, it's not something you could, like, articulate, which is kind of where I've been sitting with it lately. But, yeah, I don't know. I don't know what it is.
Interesting.
I also think there's just like surface level stuff that like I'm sick of my fucking day job. Like I'm fucking 36. I'm like, when can I just do the thing that I want to do full time?
Absolutely. It's like these parameters that we have to, because like you still got to pay rent.
Yeah.
You know, you gotta show up to things. Like there's so many things that we have to do that stop us from living authentically or whatever the fuck.
Yeah, but I'm also a psychopath though. Like I feel way more comfortable like in a high stress situation than having to like stand online at the grocery store. Yeah.
Like you need a deadline coming up.
I need a deadline. I need
neck.
someone to be like you. Like some of it might be like my ADD, but like which like I'm not like one of those people just like saying that like I have ADD. Like
I know you.
If you've listened to any of this podcast thus far, I clearly have ADD. But like I don't know, like there's something about like being like we got to do this right now. Let's think on our feet. Let's get it done. Mm-hmm. That like I'm very like a call to action type of person.
Pressure makes a diamond.
Yeah, but then at the minute it's like let's do our laundry now because we'll need some shirts for later in the week. I'm like, I'd rather commit suicide right now.
I want to be the person that says, let's do it now.
Yeah. I
will procrastinate. I'll know I need to do something, and it is getting done the hour before. I can't help it. It's just the way I've always been that way. I very much relate to that.
But you seem, from how as much as I know you, you always make me feel better about shit because I feel like you're just like, I mean, I'm not in your head, but you always just seem like, yep, that's me. Like, rather where I'm like, you're a fucking piece of shit. Like, I'm like.
Well, thank you for that. I am really good at tricking people. Like, I promise you, like, when I was graduating college, I was, with my girls from class or whatever, because it was like, the college one.
Mm-hmm.
And we were like, all lining up, and the one girl turned to me and she goes, "Where are your robes?" Because like smart people wear robes. And I was like, "Oh, honey, I barely got by. Like, but I've always been able to present really smart and like eloquent, maybe. Because like in school, like growing up, elementary school, high school, I was a bad student in that I wasn't disruptive, but I didn't know what the fuck was going on.
Yo, same.
I was lost 100% of the time, but I couldn't bring bad grades home because my fucking parents would flip, paying for Catholic school. Why are you wasting my money?
Mm-hmm.
So I just would pretend and I would charm, like personality champ. I was like I just asked the teacher, like, I would do like side work.
Yeah,
to
what
like,
can we do here?
Yeah. I would be like, you need help putting stuff up on the walls. Like, I'm a doer. Like, if it was, the age before iPhones and stuff, I would be an expert factory line worker. Like I would figure it out. I can like use my hands, but up here, man, it is like
right.
I didn't think I could read for the longest time till I got glasses. I just was. So I always had to like.
That sounds like your parents and teachers' fault for not picking that up faster.
Because guess what? When I would go to get my eyes checked, as you do as kids, you get it done. I would like fix my eyes to be able to read that says Denver Aristor. Like I would adjust my eyes to read it because I was so conditioned to like figuring out how to not fail the test. So I would go to the eye doctor and figure out how to pass.
Fail the
Yeah. Yeah. So and people have said, like, people have described me as being like very organized, very like good at time management. I don't know why or how those people think those things of me, but here I am.
Okay, so wait, do you have ADD? Or some
probably
thing like that. So I read in a book about adult ADD recently, which was crazy because I had been diagnosed with ADD like in like college.
Yeah.
But they didn't really like break it down too much.
Yeah.
They were just kind of like ran these tests on me and said, this is what you got.
Yeah.
Right. So I read this fucking book about adult ADD, and they started talking about stuff like behavioral stuff and things that you do that I didn't know had anything to do with ADD.
Yeah.
And I was reading, I was like
that's just me.
What the fuck? Like, I was like, God damn it. Because I kind of was going through a thing where I'm like, maybe I don't have it. And then, like, I definitely have it.
Yeah.
But one of the things, the reason I say all this, one of the things is that a lot of times some people with ADD, they're really good at doing things for other people or for their job that they are not able or as good at doing for themselves.
That tracks.
So like if your job or whatever, they're like, oh, Kelly fucking is on time, organizes all the shit, she's good at what she does, but then in your personal life, you're like, I don't even know what I'm doing tonight.
Yeah.
I didn't do my laundry, all my shit's all over the fucking place. Yeah. That's like they call it like putting out fires. Like you're good at like
I'm a fucking firefighter.
Yeah.
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 Absolutely. So that's funny. Yeah. Because it's like even when it comes to writing, like we were kind of talking about this before we started recording. I was saying how like in an 8-hour day, I'll kind of just be looking around for a few hours, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh shit.
Right. But if somebody at your job or whatever, not that I want to talk about your day, but just any job, right?
Yeah.
They gave you an assignment.
Yeah.
And said, I need 1,000 words.
Yeah.
By the end of the day, like you'd be on it.
Absolutely.
You'd be like,
yeah, I would get it together. I would get it together. And here's the thing: if I didn't get it together, I would come up with an excuse that would make you feel dumb for having the deadline be tomorrow. And why wouldn't the deadline be Monday? Because I knew how to scam my way out of things that I need. Like it was like a survival thing.
Right.
So that's very funny. Well, there you go.
You're like, oh shit.
Yeah.
That's so funny.
Amazing. Oh, Finn wants to get in on the action. Hello, sir.
Yeah. What are you insecure about,
Finn,
Finn?
do you have ADD?
Seems that way.
Yeah. Yeah. Sleepy boy. Have enough depression naps today? He's so cute. Okay. I forget what we were talking about, but that's okay. We'll move on. Do you deal with feelings of imposter syndrome? Do you know what imposter syndrome is? I just assume.
Sometimes I think I do, and then sometimes I think I don't.
Deal with it or know what it is?
Know what it is.
Okay, so imposter syndrome is the feeling of like, I don't belong here. It would be like, you know, a very small example would be like that gig that we did over the weekend, right? Where it's like, okay, you're going to do 30 minutes on the show, and you're in your mind, you're like, 30 minutes? I don't have the ability to do 30 minutes. Why would they even ask me? I'm not good enough to go on the road and do 30 minutes. Like those thoughts. Or like, you know, Netflix gives you a special and you're like, I've tricked everybody into believing that I should be here, but I'm not supposed to be here.
Right.
That's imposter syndrome.
Yes, I definitely get that. I feel like it comes in waves. I'm kind of like I don't like process stuff. I kind of just keep it moving.
Yeah.
I'll do it later. On to the next thing.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, I don't know. I definitely get it sometimes.
Yeah.
I think I kind of had it a little bit like right after I got passed at New York Comedy Club. Where I was like, what the fuck am I doing?
Yeah.
Like, who did I like? Yeah, like.
Who did I trick for them to claim me?
Yeah, like what happened? And
and
then I don't know. I guess now that we're talking about it, I guess when I feel like I'm around people that are not my peers that I believe are like, you know, in some totem pole like higher than me, that I'm like, oh, I don't belong here.
Yeah,
like, that will happen.
Yeah, that's interesting.
And even sometimes people that are my peers, but in certain circles or certain scenarios. You know, like Max Spinelli, right? Like, when he and I are shooting sketches, I'm never feeling like imposter syndrome. Like, it's just like, it feels the same way like you and I are hanging
chilling,
out.
Yeah,
But like, if he and I are like at New York Comedy Club or we're like on a show together, certain shows together, I'm like, fuck.
Yeah.
What the fuck am I doing here? And then sometimes I'll even think like the only reason I'm here is because of him.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, oh, I'm just like a coattail rider.
Yeah.
And then, then I start. Usually my set's not as good.
Yeah, you know, it's so crazy. I was nervous at the comic strip on Monday. I was like, all my friends are here.
Yeah, you seemed a little nervous.
I was nervous.
I didn't want to like say anything to you because sometimes that makes it worse.
No, I was fucking nervous because I was like, God, it's one thing to go up on a show where no one knows me, or if it is a comic that I see around, they don't know me, but it's like my friends. It's like these are the people that are going to look at this set and be like, she hasn't done any work, you know, like.
Meanwhile, you should be caring more about what the audience thinks. You're worried about your friends back.
Yeah.
That definitely happens to me sometimes, but I've only more recently come to the realization that, like, from a comic standpoint, I can't speak for other areas of life, but, like, when it comes to comedy, I feel like my peers, like that show we were on, like, those are all of our friends, basically. They get more enjoyment and probably give you more respect and daps for trying something new, and they understand that even if the crowd doesn't like it, that doesn't mean that it's not good.
Right, that's true.
Because the amount of times where I'm like, you know, sometimes when you're just like off stage, you're just like, before you have to do a show, you're just like in a place where you're like, nothing fucking matters. I don't fucking care. You kind of almost don't even care about the set.
Yeah.
Or if you do care about the set, you're like, I'm going to do whatever the fuck I want right now because I'm in a mood.
Right.
And you murder.
Yeah.
And then you'll murder sometimes with, like, new shit.
Right.
And
you just got that energy.
Right. And then, but like, the times I've done that, and even if the set does, even if I don't murder, the comics that will come up to me like, yo, I fucking love that one bit that you tried to do. Like, and the joke didn't even do well.
Right.
But they're like, yo, that's.
But as comics, they appreciate the joke.
Versus, I go in, I murder with all the stuff.
Yeah.
That, you know, I placate the audience, and I come off to like, hey, did it again, or good job.
Yeah,
like, they're not like, oh, hell.
That's true.
There's like an excitement, I feel like.
Yeah. Oh, gosh. Yeah, because that's another thing. I was like, I'm doing jokes that like that they've heard before, and it's just like just completely in your head.
Right.
Crazy. Well, yeah, because imposter syndrome, I feel like.
Do you deal with that a lot?
I think, because I know what it is, and I have a feeling of like why of feeling imposter syndrome. Because I know what it is, I'm like, well, this is dumb to be feeling this way because there is a scientific in the DSM answer or reasoning why you're feeling this way.
Yeah, what is it? I was about to ask you that. Do you know what's like the stock standard? Like, this is the reason for imposter syndrome.
Oh, I don't know. That's a good question. I don't know what. I think it's just an anxiety driven thing, because I've heard people like Natasha Leggero, for example, talk about imposter syndrome, and it's like, why would someone like her have imposter syndrome? Like, it's just like, you hear successful people talk about imposter syndrome, so it's like something that everybody, well, not everybody, but a lot of people deal with. But really, in terms of dealing with it, truthfully, I don't want to give him that much credit, but Joe has helped me a lot with the imposter syndrome, because I'll be here having, inside thoughts, but saying them out loud of like, feeling a certain way. And he's like, why? Like, why? Like, and it will kind of do the same thing where it's like what you were saying, like choose someone that's bad at the thing, but like still successful.
Right.
It's almost like, okay, well, if that person is doing it, then why do you feel like that you don't have the ability to do it?
Right.
So.
Right. And also sometimes like somebody, even if it's Joe or anybody, it's like you also, when we get like that, you get like that, whatever, it's like we put blinders on.
Yeah.
So we create we create like a fucking story, or like, this is what it is.
Yeah.
This is what it is. I shouldn't be here. I scam people. These people are better than me. Whatever, like, the thought process is. But then it's like, someone like Joe could just be like, yeah, but that guy sucks.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, yeah, that dude is fucking lame, dude.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to fucking hear him talk about wedding registries, dude. Like, and then you're like, oh, yeah, they do fucking suck. Like,
yeah.
It's sometimes it's just like that easy where you're like, oh yeah, that shit is fucking lame. Like, why do I even fucking, like, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, no, it doesn't matter. And there are just more tangible things nowadays to hold yourself against someone too. Like, so like Instagram, for example, I used to never give a fuck about how many Instagram followers I have. And now I am so like, embarrassed isn't the right word, but like, I don't know. I'm just like, how does this person have 10,000 followers? And that's not even a lot of followers. And I'm sitting over here at like 2,000.
You know what the easiest answer to that is they lost any shame about worrying about getting followers. Usually, I find.
And like, I'm not on the pursuit of followers, but it is something where it's like I'm on the pursuit in terms of like, I want them.
Well, we have a job that it is
requires
part of the requirement to
exactly,
do it.
Yeah.
The sooner we can, as comics, accept that,
yeah,
it is the curse and the blessing for us with Instagram and social media, because we need the followers. You need to cultivate a following if you want to go on tour or want to book gigs.
Yeah.
That's the name of the game right now.
Absolutely.
You can hate it all you want. We are not average people that don't do comedy. So, like, yes, we have to be careful, because once you open that fucking thing and you start going off, once you start using it for not business stuff, albeit the business of comedy, like, yes, you are wasting time with it. But we have a reason to use it and vie for followers.
Yeah.
And this is something, this is shit I am like literally have to like tell myself all the time, where I'm like, I know it's fucking lame. I know it's fucking like, you want to be based on the merits of what you do on stage, but that's not how it works right now.
Yeah.
So just
yes,
like get
so
over
true.
it.
Right. Yeah, I feel like when it comes to the social media thing, I am really self-conscious and have a bit of imposter syndrome when it comes to this self-advertising. I understand self-advertising to other comics because we all get it. We all know the name of the game. It's my friends outside of comedy that are like, I just picture them in group chats that I'm not in, side chatting about how cringe I am.
Oh no, you can't do that.
It doesn't stop me from doing it,
Oh my
but
God.
I picture it constantly where I'm just like, oh, they probably are talking so much shit.
Oh my God. Now you're gonna make me think about that. That's so funny. See, it's so funny, and this is probably because I'm like a bit of a narcissist at times. Like, I don't know. See, like when I think about my friends outside of comedy seeing my stuff, the thing I think about the most is they have such a false perception of how well I'm doing.
Yeah, no, that's
the perception that they have is so false. Like every once in a blue moon when they come to a show, especially if it's like a good show, and they're like, "Bro, you fucking killed it. You did great. That's fucking awesome." A lot of times my response to them is like, "You weren't here for the last 25 sets."
Yeah.
Right. 8 shit.
You wasn't with me shooting in the gym.
Right. Or those jokes not working or whatever. Like.
Yeah. You should have heard it the first time I said that. Yeah.
Yeah. You should have seen the first time. Exactly. We were like, this was dog shit like a while ago. So it's just this weird like, I don't know. So I guess I had never have thought about. I'm a very like fuck the haters type of person.
Totally, and that's how you need to be.
So like, I guess I never.
That's what I tried to tell myself I am. Of like fuck the haters.
Right. I have a danger like using hate and revenge is like a very useful fuel for me. I operate on a high level when I use that as a fuel.
Yeah.
The downside to it, though, is it makes me a spiteful, dark-souled person when I do it, and I don't feel good about it in the downtime.
Yeah.
Because then I'm just, like, filled with, like, There was a few years when I started stand-up, that I, like, literally rode on that fuel.
Yeah.
And it got me far quick, but then it was, like, not good for me.
It's not sustainable.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Interesting. But I definitely relate to the aspect of doing something out of spite. Yeah. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Okay.
That might be a Jersey thing.
I was going to say.
That might be a Jersey trait.
I know. What was your favorite bar to go to in down the shore?
The Hudson House. Or the HUD as it's known locally. But yeah.
Was that the spot we went to that one time? Remember
with
like,
the pinball?
Yeah.
Yes.
That place was awesome.
Yeah, place is great.
I'm a Belmar girly. I had Belmar houses. 2 years with like a bunch of friends, you know, a house that has 2 bedrooms that we've put 16 people in kind of deal. So I was a bar A bitch. Oh
shit. I've been there.
Yeah. Have you been to Beat the Clock?
I was so wasted when I went. I don't even remember what I was there for. I have a bunch of friends from Staten Island, and they used to rent a house down there. And they would invite me to come down for a night or two. So I would go. And the one time I went to that bar, Bar A. I don't remember leaving and woke up in the, like, you know how down the beach it's just like there's no grass, there's just rocks.
There's pebbles.
The pebbles. I woke up, somebody
in someone's pebbles.
In their pebbles, they go, "Excuse me."
I know so many men that have woken up in pebbles. No women, but I've known plenty of men.
They're kind of nice because I think they're like cool.
Yeah.
They're like cold. And there's just, it's kind of nice. Like it's kind of like a weird massage.
Yeah.
And you just, just like, just lay in these rocks.
So many men. I've seen so many men in rocks.
Just passed out in the rocks. It's kind of nice. But then you wake up and, you get like, there's like little pebbles falling off your face.
The morning dew.
Yeah, the morning dew. Yeah, there is a morning dew too. Oh, man.
Oh, that's amazing. Okay. So I have this one card that I sometimes do with guests where it's supposed to be more, it doesn't have to be rapid, but it's like fast. You don't really think of it. You just kind of say, it's finish the sentence.
Right.
Okay. All right. We're gonna get into it. What do you need? Please. Oh my God, you're so cute right now.
He's just excited for the segment.
Yeah, he is excited. Okay. Finish the sentence. When I look at a photo of my younger self, ... When I look at a photo of my younger self,
I cringe.
You cringe?
Yeah.
Why?
Only specifically puberty.
Pre-puberty?
Years. Like when I had braces and I thought spiking my hair with LA Looks gel was
Oh my
cool.
gosh, you were like such a little North Jersey boy.
Oh, I look at those pictures, I want to die.
What kind of shoes did you wear?
There was what I wanted and then what my parents would let me get.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It was just like some kind of like pseudo skater shoe
Absolutely.
or something. Yeah.
I had these big chunky etnies.
Yeah, and I would wear like my t-shirts were too small, and I would wear just like jeans not properly fit.
Mm-hmm.
Just ugh. Yeah.
That's honestly, I talk a lot of shit about Catholic school. Thank God we had to wear a uniform every day.
That saved us.
Seriously.
Saved us.
Literally. I went to a school in which we were able to have some liberties in the shoes that we wore. Like, it didn't have to be like in high school. It didn't have to be like the certain like, uniform shoe, and you could wear like a sweater.
Mm-hmm.
Those liberties were eventually taken away like junior or senior year for whatever reason. But having a uniform and not having to think about
what you have to wear every fucking day.
Yeah.
I think that stuck with me because like every year I get older, I am this much closer to adopting like a uniform or a very, very restricted dress code where like everything I can wear can be worn with each other. So I literally never have to think about what I wear.
I think if I could get there, that would be the sweetest freedom because, again, bringing up Joe, he dresses like a cartoon character. Have you ever seen him in anything different than athletic pants and a t-shirt?
Other than the 2 weddings we've been to?
Right.
Nope.
And the one suit he owns for that. Thanks to me. He wouldn't own that suit if he didn't date me. But, like, and honestly, in terms of shopping for him, amazing. Like, of course, he was getting himself, like, the cheapest of cheap athletic pants. For our anniversary that we just had, I went to Lululemon and got him the nice ABC jogger. Mm-hmm. And he's like, oh, well, these are my new pants now. He's like, tell my mom, tell my sister, any birthday, holiday coming up, just get me these pants. And this is my wardrobe now. So it's, like, it is easier to, like, have a uniform.
Yes, 100%.
So funny. Okay. Finish the sentence. If I could choose the way I'd die, I'd pick. Too heavy of a finish the sentence.
No. I'm trying to decide, like, there's, like, my initial thought was, like, wait, you mean, like, the way I want to, if I was to commit suicide, how would I do it? Or just, like, die?
No, just die.
I think die. I think it would be cool to, like, I don't know why my instinct just goes to like being in like a dope sports car exploding.
Oh, like Paul Walker style.
Yeah, kind of, but like I feel like I'd rather it like not be like, oh, I like had a DUI or like
oh god no.
Or like lost control of the car, just like I don't know, just like exploded. Like like a freak accident.
Yeah.
Like I'm driving down the highway.
Someone from the New Jersey Mafia got you.
Yeah. And just like a nice, because I would like to make like headlines.
Okay, you
want to
make you want to see your name in lights one way or the other.
I want it to be like a show of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that's fun to me.
Yeah. I don't know about how I want to die, but I just know how I don't want to die is I don't want it to be in an embarrassing fashion like skydiving or bungee jumping.
Yes.
Which is why I'll never do those things.
Right.
Because I don't need that to happen.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. Somebody could, if a close friend, like, I could be convinced to go skydiving. You could not, I don't think you could convince me to go bungee jumping.
No.
Unless, like, Travel Channel was like, we're going to pay you. And
right,
in which case,
yeah.
like, let's go.
Yeah, absolutely. Please. For my career, I'm going to do it. Patreon? Okay. Finish the sentence. Something I would like to change about the way I deal with conflict.
Oh shit. Something I wish I would not let it affect me so much
Conflict.
after the resolve of it.
Oh, okay. So you resolve something and you don't have the ability to move on, you fester. Yeah,
I guess like depending upon what it is, like there's certain things I just like have a tough time like letting go.
Is that because you feel like in the resolution you had to acquiesce too much? Like you
what
had,
does that mean?
Like,
acquiesce?
Like you had to give in a little bit more, like you couldn't stand your ground?
Yeah, to me, like when I think of a conflict, like I'm thinking of like shit with my family or something. Like I'm not talking about like little mini conflicts.
Yeah.
Like, oh, we have to figure this thing out at work, or
right.
This joke isn't working, or something like.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of like there's like problems we got to deal with. I wish like in the moment I feel like I handle stuff very well, or for the most part I handle it pretty well, but I'm not good in like the aftermath of it.
So yeah, you're good in the crisis. You're not good in the fallout.
Yeah, it's almost like what we talked about before, where it's like, you know, you're good at doing stuff for other people, but then it's like when you got to start doing stuff for yourself on your own. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, I like don't know what to do with myself sometimes.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Finish the sentence. A mistake I'll never make again. I'm trying to think how I would even answer these. And I don't know, because they're tough. A mistake I'll never make again.
Never make again. This is one of those moments where it's like a Price is Right thing, where if like you asked me this, where like if we were sitting not on a podcast, I would know right away.
Yeah,
and I feel like now I'm like, there's like 5 that I'm not thinking of.
I'm like, oh, I've never made a mistake.
There's like stupid ones that are coming to mind, but they're not like good, like meaty ones. But I'll give you one for sake of time.
Whatever.
I will never use an H4n or a recording thing to shoot anything, whether it's a podcast or to get recording from a show, without checking it with headphones first.
Oh, so like something like this.
Yeah, because the amount of times that I have like been like, looks good.
Yeah.
But like, because these things you can like connect into like audio, like other audio platforms, and you don't check how it sounds coming out of their thing into your thing.
Yeah.
I've lost so much audio doing that over the years doing that. I know that's not the answer you were looking for.
I've asked this question so many times, and I've gotten so many different answers.
I got a good. I got one that's more fitting for the show.
Let's hear it.
I will never, and this is something I tell people when I get in a relationship with them, I will never make the mistake of texting something important or that is about a conflict or something to anybody.
That's a good one.
It makes any. You can send people good news. You could send people like, hey, can we talk later?
Yeah.
But the minute you start being like, I'm upset about this thing that you did, and then they start texting back, and then you text back, and it's like paragraphs and paragraphs and paragraphs, it makes whatever situation you're dealing with worse.
Yeah, absolutely. Always. Oh, that is a really good one.
Yeah.
The other part of that is that now, because if you, let's say you broach a conflict or an issue that you have with someone via text, they now have something on you because they can be like, well, you texted me about it and it made it so much worse. Mm-hmm. You know, you give them some fodder that they're not supposed to have.
Yeah. And sometimes I've been in situations where, like, if I'm dating somebody or even somebody that I'm not dating and they start coming at me with the big emotional text, like stuff that I'm like, we should talk about this in person. I'll be like, thanks for letting me know this. Let's talk about it tonight. Yeah. And they'll be like, oh, you don't have something to say now? I'll be like, no, because we should talk about it in person. And they might be mad at you in the moment, but when you talk to them later, and it usually, you know, assuming things get hashed out, 90% of the time, people have said to me, like, that's a thank you for doing that.
Yeah. I don't see a downside to that.
I've never found a downside to it.
Whew. The one thing that would drive me crazy, though, is the, hey, can we talk later text. That alone would be like, oh, God.
I'll sometimes, if it's someone I know well, I'll like be like, hey, can we talk later? And I'll give them like a level of seriousness. Yeah. I'll be like, this is kind of heavy. Okay. Or like, it's not a serious talk, but it's like, I don't want to text you about it. So like, let's just talk about it. Absolutely. I'll give them because I know, I don't want to be like, you're like waiting like for the doom. Yeah.
Like, I'm in trouble. Okay, last one. Finish the sentence. If I could whisper something into the ear of my younger self, I would say.
Learn about money.
Oh, that is a good one, dude. Learn about
like how to manage your money. I would probably extend the secret or whisper to them like, learn to manage your money. Mm-hmm. I know that sounds super boring, or right now you say gay a lot. Like I know that sounds gay, but like it doesn't have to be complicated, but just like start saving at 18, like put a little away and leave it there. Like just do that. Because, like, now I'm, like, trying to – now, currently, the secret's over. The whispering part's over. I'm just speaking normal now. But, like, I feel like now I'm trying to make up for stuff that I didn't do.
Trying to right my wrongs.
Yeah, in terms of, like, money saving and, like, things like that.
Yeah,
and I have so many bad habits that, like –
Yeah. You know, I had my lifeguarding job paid me. Okay. I was in high school making $20 an hour. $20 an hour for doing nothing. It was just bread. That's all it was. I was the most fun person to go out with. Literally. I'm like, this money is unlimited. And also, this is how I'll be when I am a comedian bringing in a ton of money. I am excited for a time when it's like, girls, we're going on a girls trip paid for by yours truly.
Oh, you were preaching to the choir right now.
Oh, we are cut from the same cloth. Absolutely. I love showing my friends a good time. Like, I have, like, you know, these delusions of grandeur of one day, you know, we're all going to go to Tahiti or wherever on just like a fun trip. And so when I was in high school making all this money, it kind of was just like the same thing of being like, I got your burritos. It's fine.
Yep.
Yeah. Whatever. It's a burger. Let me get it, you know, because I'm like, they're not making $20 an hour, but I am. So I can do it.
Right.
You know? And, so yeah, I look back, that's such a good one. And it's something, Finn, you got to relax. And that's something where I look back on where I'm like, damn, if only someone had just said, hey, take one paycheck that I didn't need to live off of that. I had a roof over my head that wasn't paid for by me. I had food I was eating that wasn't paid for by me. All this shit where it was just extra income. And then I go to college and I decide to join a sorority and you know, spend all of it on pledging. Like, you know. So it's like, oh, if only someone had just said take a paycheck or two and like put it in a Roth IRA. Literally.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Yeah. It was so funny when I remember, like, when I started my own Roth IRA, like, I went to my dad to, like, ask him for help with it. And he was like, I don't know why you didn't do this when you're 18. I was like, I don't know why you didn't fucking try to help me or make me do it.
So many 18-years-olds have the thought, I should start a Roth IRA.
Oh, you're 18. Let's start a Roth IRA.
You know what I was doing at 18? My mom was helping me fill out student loan applications, okay? When I was 18, I was putting myself into financial ruin at 18. Start a Roth IRA. Yeah. Good
now,
idea,
like,
Dad.
I know. Now, like, Gen Z kids are, like, angel investors and shit
literally,
at, like, 15.
Literally.
Yeah.
And they're going to angel invest into us.
Yeah, I know, right? I need a Gen Z person to fucking place a bet on me.
Yeah. Better stop staying gay, man.
I feel like it's making a comeback.
It really is.
Plus, I also have the get out of jail free card with my brother being gay.
Oh,
so I'm like, it's like my brother is gay.
Shout out
Hello.
to the gay brothers. You guys are the best. Oh man, amazing. Well, I think that's about our time.
Hell yeah.
Did you have fun?
Oh, I had a great time.
Good.
I have a lot to think about now.
Oh, stop. No. You were a wonderful guest. Where can people find you?
At Chris Metcalfe Comedy on Instagram. Also, if you live in New York and want to go to shows, check out at Pure Chaos Comedy. We got this new show over at Gamma. It's going to be a weekly show and our first show in the city. So
nice.
Easy to get to if you're a Manhattanite.
Amazing. The Pure Chaos sticker is featured in almost every intro of the show because I always have my laptop on the intro. So
my co-producer Breck always sends me because it's sometimes in his Joe's podcast because of the laptop, and she'll be like, "Secret marketing, look at us."
No, it's brilliant. Breck was brilliant for that because it's not only on my laptop, it's also on my water bottle that I also have out all the time. It's so smart.
Yeah.
So check out Pure Chaos. It's like I was talking about this with Lauren Petrie, of how it's like Breck and what you guys are doing with Pure Chaos is creating an indie scene of comedy.
Truly
to its core.
That wasn't even the goal.
That's why it's happening.
Yeah.
You crazy people. Chris Metcalfe, you're the best. Thank you so much. Guys, until next week. Bye.
Peace.